This is Soup City Sense, Season 3, Too Great a Burden. And the thing that we need to keep in mind when thinking of Chicago is it's a wintry sort of city, even in the height of the dog days of summer. It is a very hard place that gets in your blood and stays with you. It is a place where each shadow has a life of its own that adds to the whole. Chicago, without any hedging of any bets, is a wholly American, one of a kind sort of city with an international vision and a back alley life's blood. When we last left our coterie, sacrifices were made. Through the combined strength of Hessian Alexander, Simone laid on the floor of the shelter's triage area, staked and all but physically dead to the world, even as behind his eyes shadows move. And for those paying attention, those shadows have a particularly malevolent glint. In protecting the shelter and the haven, Alexander and Hestia have laid low one of our members, one of their members, their frontline warrior, as it were. En route to the coterie's haven are any number of assigned Tremere coming at the behest of DeSable in applied help to assist Hestia with the spirit, or spirits in this case, that are locked within Simone's flesh. While the previous evening's activities, where would they have left Clyde? When we last left when we last left Clyde, he was speaking with a particularly ardent voice in his head, a scientist who was droning on in regards to the nature of reality and the moment that he was in, what one push could result in, the equal and opposite reaction of their actions of the previous evenings and the weight therein. The sun quickly rising, he'd of course die for the day. Returning to his chambers, not quite sure how he got there when he was most recently speaking, well, listening to the interrogation of Genghis. Awakening the night after, what would be his first thoughts?
Probably start looking through the pages that uh, he wrote. Uh, what's it called? Automatic reading or something like that?
Yeah, it's automatic writing where something
Yeah.
else takes over. There's a series of formulas and various formula like jottings. Not quite sure exactly what they mean, but the one thing that sticks out is a screed. Something along the lines of prior to nuclear proliferation, war was a predetermined event that, while destructive, also fostered the growth of kingdoms and empires. The lack of smaller wars and social brush fires as society held to a new belief of war as an and then it trails off. More formulas, more jottings. A picture of a shadowed wolf, a picture of a crown, a picture of a harlequin style jester throwing symbols into the air. And then further down on the page, sad though it is, to know to save our precious few, a war is necessary.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna pay my browsing for the evening.
Okay.
That's good. And then I probably gonna file it, but I'm gonna use kind of my premonition to file, not to go through the writings, but just to file it in case I need something.
Okay.
Uh,
And do you remember where your dice pool is for trying to force a premonition?
it's give me a sec. I need to open the character sheet
No
because
worry. It's his resolve plus aspects to uh, inspire a premonition to seek and reach beyond what he can physically that
okay,
network.
that is Two successes. Well, I got two ones on hunger die. Isn't that like something?
No, no. You're fine. You have enough successes. That's not an issue. Under the old system, those ones would have taken away your successes, leaving you with a failure. Under V5, no, you're all set. As long as you don't have a total failure with failures being on your hunger dice, you should be fine.
All right.
All right. So, as you stare at the scribbled jots and your beast, while not completely ravenous nor hungry, it's prowling around the edges of your mental vision. It's not quite obscuring your view, but with it moving so quickly and trying to ease closer to the surface, seemingly of its own volition, the image isn't quite clear. Something about that line, we must sacrifice to something about war, something that portion as you focus on that line, on those last few lines, and the image of the Harlequin style gesture juggling, you
Oh
see your
yeah.
you see yourself
Uh,
stepping off the train. You don't usually ride the subway. You don't usually ride the L, but you see yourself stepping off at 95th Street. You see a speeding car. You see an explosion of blood, and you see Simone's head tumbling down the tracks in front of the train.
all right. Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna close my eyes and try to absorb the location as best as I can. Do I need to roll something?
No, no. 95th Street is a hallmark. It is the end of the line for the red line, which is the city's lifeblood when it comes to transportation.
Yep. But I mean, is there somebody else? Am I there, or somebody else in the coterie, or is just Simone?
That's what you saw, just Simone's head on the red line.
Okay.
You saw the car that you saw, strangely enough, looks like an ambulance. You know it's a car, but for some strange reason, it strikes you as an ambulance. It strikes you as something medical. It strikes that feel in your head. You know it was a car, but it felt to you like an ambulance, like something medical, something related to body, to blood. You're not sure.
I'm gonna start fidgeting with my fingers on the palm of my hand, just like trying to imprint this, and then open the open the file cabinet, shuffle a little bit, and put the uh, put the pages in. Then I'm gonna try to make it to the coterie, and then try to be tactful about this, not to cause an alarm, but see if there's something to it.
Okay, are you going to hunt on the way, or are you going to wait or try to push it off until you get back to the coterie?
Let me check. Oh yeah, I'm three hunger. Yeah. So yeah, I probably need to hit one of the clubs, or one of the specialty shops where the paranormal crowd uh, comes together.
Yes, that is definitively one of the best options available. So you find yourself in West Town. It's home to quite a few such clubs, though the social aspect is particularly missing from the title because it is, while social and loving within its own bounds, to those on the outside, because of the common tactics and social distance applied to the niche, they return that in kind and in spades, with exponentially to those strangers who happen through such clubs. It is decidedly unsocial if you are one who doesn't understand or doesn't believe. Having been in such
Uh,
places before, Clyde is perfectly at home. He knows the etiquette of the place.
yeah, I started looking for essential oils or something like that, and grab a little bottle and uh, go towards the attendant and give him or her a good evening, uh, and then ask, yeah, so any interesting news lately?
Any interesting news? I mean, besides all of the people going missing recently, you know that the Wendigo have moved into the area. They're snatching people left and right. You got to keep your wits about you, man. You're probably gonna need to pick up some wolf's bane, a little of that myrrh, and some of those silver item over there.
Oh, did those actually work? I saw one of those things. Uh, you.
You, wait, you saw one?
Oh yeah, they were in the park, and it gave me the flash, and no, you can't even imagine. Uh, and I'm gonna say, let me whisper a little secret.
Okay. He leans over good naturedly, a smile on his face, hoping to get some inside information that, none but you might be able to provide, having survived seeing one of the famed Wendigo, the cursed eaters of flesh.
Yep. I'm guessing I can fit discreetly here.
Discreetly? No.
Well, I mean,
Freely?
I mean, it just looked like someone necking or someone chit chatting in private, right? It's not like there's a vampire feeding on a person there.
Well, that comes down to Lady Luck. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll that manipulation persuasion for me? How well your conversation has inured you to the ear hustlers and onlookers in the area.
I will.
Well,
3 successes.
well, now they've never seen Gary so openly hit on anybody before. Clearly, you're one of the good guys. Um, the question is, how much of yourself do you manage to restrain? Your hunger is at 3.
Yep.
So go ahead and are you giving full vent to your beast? Or are you going to leave Gary a puddle of human?
No, no. I just want to take 2 points. So resolve and uh, composure.
Yes, sir.
Let me check if I have some willpower available. That's a bad roll if I ever see one.
It could be. It could have been far, far worse. You've been in worse situations. Um, how is your
Yeah,
willpower?
I have willpower to spend, so there's an automatic way to reroll willpower, right?
Yeah, yeah. Click the dots.
Okay. It says get nitro. That's
Yep.
uh, it sends me to some nitro thing.
Hmm.
All right, I'm just will. Okay, 2 successes. That's not terrible.
Gary was not long for this world. He ghost is walking over his grave, and he places a hand, even as swooned as he is, against your chest. There's not an urge to push you away, but merely to try to steady himself by some extraordinarily extension of your will, by some blessing of the gods, you are able to extricate yourself, licking the wound before you drink him down like a fine Italian milkshake, as if he's the very essence of a gelato and tall and creamy. And you can taste him on your lips, and you know for a fact that he is extraordinarily a happy person. The blood that coats the back of your throat is sweet, light, and taste of sun-kissed afternoon. He is a person that's generally very, very happy. He's generally someone who believes and lives a very fantasy-driven life. As you rush toward the haven after your near snafu, thoughts of the end is on your mind, takes up your steps and fills in the spaces of the world around you. There's something afoot, there's something heavy hanging over the coterie, and you need to get to them and figure this out because the last thing you need after their help in protecting your family is for something untoward, something dark to befall them. Alexander, Hestia, you two are standing over Simone. And for all of the reputation that Genghis shared with you, Alexander, and all of the things that you've seen him actually do, Hestia, seeing him there with those shadows dancing behind his eyes triggers two things. Your Hestia, your care for him for the last few years, even as many issues that has wrought for your coterie. And Alexander, the fact that he was willing to put himself in harm's way, and that crawling around inside him, whatever that is. As you all look down on him, what are you guys doing?
Um, what I'm doing is taking stock of everything around me. I know the ward is up, um, and their bodies on the ground. Is everybody still living, or are they dead? Um, that's what I'm trying to figure out. And as he was talking to me, it was kind of I have an idea of how to undo what I did, but I'm not 100% sure. But I do have help on the way that should help me be more sure about how to fix this whole mess.
So, as you speak absently towards Alexander about having help on the way to help fix this, and you have any ideas to where you're heading, you take stock of those around you. Go ahead, give me those two rolls for me. Amalia is a tough old bird. Her life, if taken quickly, is one thing, but if given time, you've seen her walk through double lung pneumonia. You've seen her walk through a broken elbow. You're not sure how that happened, and she didn't tell you the story. You know that if it doesn't kill her right away, there's a very good chance that she will outlive almost anyone, provided she has enough time to, if not light up a cigarette, to at least think about lighting up a cigarette. And you can tell that as much pain as she's in, that is foremost on her thought. Her eyes are a little glassy, and you can see her smoking hand, her right hand, slowly and lethargically, as it slowly and lethargically spasms. It looks like a spasm, but you know what it's actually doing. With her mind is working towards trying to get to her pocket and remove a cigarette, even though there's no smoking actually inside the shelter, not officially. The others lying around are still living, thankfully. You know that this spirit, whatever it was, would definitely have invested itself in those who, and still might, if there's any bridge open between Simone and anyone else aside from you, that it could slip out of him, long as there's no connection of blood with him and any of those who are crossing over or who are weakened. And as you think about those crossing over, you look across the room and you realize that one of the people that had been injured by this thing, by Sanithia, before you all got down here, was in fact Donnell. You know that he is one of the more stalwart, upstanding members of the Richardson family, children and cousins, descendants of you're Mr. Richardson. You remember a walk through Washington Park long before you actually became a vampire. You and he talking of where you were going in life. The fact that he swore that if there was anything in this world or the next that he could do to get next to you, he would. If there was any hope, you were his only hope. If not for your constant rebuffing of him, and if not for Kieran's intervention, you surely would have been Hestia Richardson. You surely would have died or lived a very long life with him as your husband. And it's because of those moments shared, because of that actual earnest investment of soul and energies that he spent chasing behind you, even as much as you rebuffed him, that you have kept a watch over the Richardson clan. You have kept a watch over his family. And to see Donnell there, injured, not dead, hopefully not dying, but definitively injured. Injured in such a way that you're not sure that he will walk correctly or the same ever again.
It hits her kind of hard because she didn't realize at first who was on the floor, and she starts second guessing saving Amalia over Darnell, but it's like circular. It's like the hamster wheel running in her head and going back and forth, and her lips start moving, but there's no sound coming out um, as she's working through this in her brain. Um, she goes to him and checks, of course, checks the pulse, checks to make sure that um, it's steady enough for him to not be in danger. She's looking for the wound or what injuries he might have, trying to. Um,
Synethia tried to tear off his leg and beat him with it by using the bed as her knife. His leg wound is grievous. There is a hole clearly through his bone, and the bone that's keeping it in place is as weak as wet paper. He is gritting and doing his best to not scream. You've seen that look before and you know it well. If he were to let go, he would probably scream himself into unconsciousness. He's also holding on to a brave face for the other members of the shelter who did not completely run. They've seen bad things and knew to get clear of it, but to flee completely out of the building, not their style. There's nowhere else for them. This is home. This is sanctuary. This is safety and security. At least it was until tonight. Not even Mike could help them. Not even his army of keepers could help them. Not even Ms. Green and Mr. Sorochi could help them. Not even Donnell could help them. And unfortunately, the danger came from someone brought in by Mr. Sorochi. You can hear the whispers from you too, Alexander. Word being spread, passed along quietly, respectfully, and people taking notice that there are implements sticking out of Mr. Sorochi.
I dropped my voice past the level of human hearing and lean towards Alexander and asks if he has any ability to make them forget, or at least change what they think happened tonight. So then she's going to switch her focus. I mean, I have a pretty high persuasion. Um, I could try to persuade them that the person that attacked was high on something, and just kind of mix that into that. That's what they think happened tonight, and kind of diffuse what actually happened with this whole situation. Um, in the meantime, I'm also trying to, because I have pretty good medicine, um, trying to stabilize Donnell's leg without moving him too much. So basically, that's what I want to work on.
Being the case, go ahead. First, you need to diagnose, which is going to be your wits and medicine. The higher the successes, the more chances you'll be able to save the leg and it won't have to be amputated. And then you're going to need dexterity and medicine to actually begin trying to apply tourniquet to save the leg with action.
What did he say the second one was? I forgot. Wits and I don't remember.
Wits and medicine, I think.
All right. So, in your rush to make sure that he is maintained, stabilized at least, you hear Clyde's voice. Hey, what's going on? What happened? Why? What? Clyde, as you make your way through the shelter, asking after the chaos that's happening around you and all the murmur, hush tones, and the pointing and the securing of belongings, you find Hector crouched over the night manager, Donnell Richardson. He is one of the gentlemen you met previously that runs the shelter and is acting manager and takes care of the staff. And he's a all-around decent guy. He's fairly upstanding. He's fairly straightforward, not averse to bending a rule here and there for the greater good, but he's in a bad way. Simone has implements sticking out of his chest. There's another woman that is unfortunately completely, totally nude, not far from where he is. Amalia is arm broken, lung punctured, not in the best of ways, but at least it's not a sucking chest wound. You see various other members of the shelter in various states of duress, having been beaten and broken, including Mike.
Are people trying to flee?
No, not at this point. Not immediately, but yes, it's clear that people are trying to. They're packing belongings. They're ensuring that they have everything they need. And yeah, there's a trust that has been broken. There's a safety that is no longer safe.
I'm guessing Hestia is kneeling or something like that.
She's crouched over Donnell. Yes.
I'm gonna crouch next to her and tell her, well, maybe later you can tell me what happened here, but I think we need to take control of the people. They are understandably scared. I don't. Out of character. So forget is like something very immediate, right?
Yes. Do you actually have forgetful mind?
I have cloud memory, which is the first one that I think is just like the last minutes.
Yeah, a few minutes prior to whatever moment they're in.
I do have mesmerized. How much people is here?
Mesmerize typically doesn't work on groups, which means it would take time for you to interview and converse with the members specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I can try to go one by one and spend lots of blood to try to make them calm and kind of at least ask them to stay put until somebody that actually can manage the forgetful mind or the other power makes it here.
Okay. What would you like to do?
So if there's a reasonable amount of people, I will try to go mesmerizing them one by one. If there's more than 5 people, I will not try to do that.
There are more than 5 people. Unfortunately, the HV shelter is one of the better shelters, in meaning that the people here believe that it is home. Believe they are safe. This has been their sanctuary against all of life kicking them, or them kicking themselves to bring them to be homeless or addicted or otherwise having an outsider status as far as the rest of the world. It doesn't force religion down their throats. It doesn't force anything on them except for their willingness to accept help, which is a big thing because they don't demand anything from their members. They don't demand anything. It's here to help you. So there are classes for betterment, there's computer access, there's showers, there are things that whatever you could possibly use to better yourself, even if it's just a momentary step forward, has been provided without any of the other political aspersions that usually go along with shelters, none of the indoctrination.
I'm gonna say to Hestia, I can maybe call for a favor.
Well, that's par for the evening, so whatever you think is best. We need to do something. I These people need medical attention, and I have no clue how to get them that medical attention without putting a big freaking microscope on us right now. But that needs to not be the priority. I have to get these people help.
You tend to them, and I'm gonna see if I can get somebody here. Okay, and take care of the rest. So, can I try to get the Primogen Malkavian here?
Yes.
Okay. What do I need to do?
You're going to roll. Do you have any status? Any clan status?
Let's check. I think not. I have one in contact. I have allies and I have fame, but
Okay,
not status.
no worries. Here's what we're gonna do. You're going to roll your.
Well, I don't know if after running in a maze while a werewolf was killing everybody with my Primogen, does that made us kind of friendly?
Yes, you know. Well, you know where he would be on tonight. As you consider reaching out to him, you do realize that this is Wednesday. It is the third Wednesday of the month. It is therapy. You're missing the group therapy, but there are more pressing things in your immediate life. So, you know where he would be. You know the number of that location. To see if you can get a hold of him, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your charisma and occult? And excuse me, 1 second. Go ahead. We'll look at the results of that die roll.
Yes.
3 successes. You get a hold of the night nurse who unwittingly has taken care of the sessions back 3 years without realizing that strolling past her every therapy session are some of the greatest, maddest minds in the entirety. She of course goes to get Doctor, and he returns home. Clyde, my good man, what can we do you for? You're running late, excessively late.
Yeah, sorry about that. Something very important come up, and to be honest, I can use some help. I have a bunch of people. They are very scared, and they probably need to be more uh, made to be more relaxed, or uh, know that this was one-off, and they not need to be scared as they are. Justifiably so, but I was wondering if perhaps uh, you could help me with it, with that.
Sure, sure. I'll make sure I bring extra body bags. Your address?
Yeah, I'm gonna give him uh, the site address.
Alrighty. And you can hear his pen scrawling over paper even through the phone. It's clear that this is, as you suspect, a landline, and you can hear most of the details in the background, including the screaming and crying that typically happens in and around the group therapy sessions. I will make my way there as quickly as I can. I'll see you shortly.
Greatly appreciated.
Of course. Alexander, you've watched Clyde come in and begin moving about the place, but there's still the fact that all of these people here have seen Simone in his present condition. They've seen the monster that Sanithia had become. They could see the damage about her person, about yours, because you actually did hold her, so your clothing has clear signs of heated rot. Is there anything you would like to do? She is. She's still crouching over Donnell, working feverishly to try to stabilize his leg and save him.
Um, there's an office on the main floor. Nobody tends to go there. It's relatively safe. It's my or the heads of the shelter's office. We all use it, but right now, since everybody's in here, that would be the best place to take him. That's all I can think of right now. I'd also like to note that a character that it's only because she is so distracting that she did not question who Clyde was giving the address to. Because had she known who Clyde was giving the address to, there would have been a lot more uh, objection.
Okay, I lost a good portion of that. Hopefully, you got that. Um, I
Yeah,
did catch the point, the portion.
she was saying that if she had known that I was calling for this person, she probably would have objected to it.
All right, so going forward, the technical difficulties that have plagued us throughout the first 37 some odd minutes of our episode grew exponentially. The communication back and forth was considerably worse, and as such, though we tried to strive onward, it grew untenable. So we will have a truncated episode this week, but we did continue playing by post, and thanks. You guys, can you hear me?
Now, yes.
Okay. All right. So, Alexander, the directions that Hesha gave you to the office, you're lifting Simone up to carry him out of sight. As you have him in your hands, you feel something that you never expect from a vampire's body, from a kindred's body, from uh, the people that you've managed to hurt and harm who were kindred, down to the humans who worked for them. There is something here that they should not be, and that is an actual body temperature rising above even a human's body temperature. He is hot to the touch, even through the remaining clothing that you wear and he wears. It is a dry heat that's it's like touching a warmed skillet. Not hot enough to start sizzling flesh or sizzling, but it is definitely right on that tipping point of dangerously hot. It would not interfere with you carrying him to the office at all. Okay. You get to the office, and there is clearly this is a multi-use office. It's clearly where the managers and the staff use together in concert with one another. There are pictures of family members on the wall, pictures of clearly ex-residents. There's pictures upon pictures upon pictures, and without even meaning to, you scan the pictures and pick out faces that look familiar that you've seen tonight, including a black and white one of Hestia. As you sit Simone down on the cot, taking a look at the bric-a-brac in the office, something very, very important that you overlooked without to runs through your mind. Genghis clearly said, "I know lots of Alexanders. If you're the Alexander that I'm thinking of, you should be dead." Which wouldn't have been an issue. Lots of Alexanders. Alexander the Great, the little candy guy from the old Ferrara pan. Anyway, lots of Alexanders, many of them dead now. It's not an issue. The thing that makes it an issue in your mind is that he said, "There, you have one for free," as if he was sharing some information that you clearly wouldn't know, shouldn't, but was applicable. Okay. Okay. That is more than apropos. Um, as you enter into your mind palace and to make note of that, put it up on the big whiteboard in your subconscious. Um, there's a troubling memory that flashes through your head about your last few moments with Naomi just a couple of nights before. When she said what she said, there was a decidedly maudlin feel to it, as if she was saying goodbye. Not goodbye, see you later, or see you next time, but as if she was saying goodbye. Yes, it has been. It seemed like forever. Well, like most good, upstanding members of the Ivory Tower, she made sure to never really tracked by or to be otherwise importuned. Is usually from one person to the next or through the main phone line at her shelter in Halfway House. Dialing the main message line, you of course reach Janine, the overnight secretary, the administrative assistant. She kind of handles all of the big events and plotting and planning, and also runs the switchboard for Freeman House. And she clearly recognized your number, and she answers right away. Mr. Hunt, Mrs. Freeman isn't available currently. How, however, if you'd like, I can notify her as to your number and have her give you a call back. Yes, she was just here. I'll gladly relay your message and have her get back. Would this number work? Alrighty then. Thanks so much. I'll make sure she receives it. You're welcome. That should. Front and back, actually, but yes, a steak. All right. So, Hestia, as you work over Donnell and keep him far enough from the very edge of the living and the other side, you have enough people on the other side. You don't want to add one more, especially not Donnell. He physically is a living embodiment of your life before death. He is a physical embodiment of what could have been your life. He could very well have been, instead of your night manager, he very well could have been your son. He could have been your grandchild. He could have been yours.
Esty is usually a pretty put together person and doesn't let a lot bother her. But um, I don't know if there's anybody like in the coterie left in the office with her or in the space with her, but whoever's there would definitely notice that she's a bit wet around the eyes and she's having a hard time not crying. And that's probably the first time in a long time that she's ever been this close to showing any sort of major weak emotion. They've seen her angry, they've seen her determined, they've seen, stronger emotions from her, but crying has not been something that she lets anybody in on. This has hit her really, really hard, having to stab Simone to so quote unquote save his life, and the destruction of the shelter that might come from this. Like, it's all hitting her right now, and she's just really trying to hold it together to keep him alive. And everything in her wants to call the human authorities and have them take him to the hospital, but then she's worried about what she would tell them. So there's that panic there.
Speaking of panic, you're warding about the haven and the shelter, scream in your head as if someone has unleashed a foghorn right next to your head. Your wards have been opened as if someone has taken a skeleton key to them, slipped inside, and pulled it back behind them, relocking it in place.
I can guess who that would be because it takes a specific kind of magic to be able to do that. So am I guessing that's the Tremere coming from the Chantry House?
Moving through the crowd is Ericto and Sunche. You don't really associate with Sunche, but Ericto was clearly an associate of Kieran's back many, many years ago. That much is obvious. And to see her there now as the person sent by Disapo to lend assistance, it's a trembling thanks that ripples through you. Of all the Tremere that could have been sent, including and especially even Julius, this is a relatively happy thought. Clyde, as you're standing just outside waiting on your permission to arrive, you see two women move into the shelter, walking through the crowd as if they know exactly where to go. One's a medium heighted brunette with her hair cut into a oblong bob, and the other a clearly Far East Asian woman, slightly shorter, thinner, but carrying an air of menace about her. It's almost as if her shadow, you can see demonic faces taking over monsters as it shifts from one and slides along the floor from one form to the next. They pay you no
So,
mind.
with Sense the Unseen, can I determine if they are uh, supernaturals?
They are definitely kindred. They move with the air of authority that very few mortals could master, short of presidents and heads of state, and even then it would just be a pale imitation of what you see before you. These two women moving in concert with deadly focus directly towards Hestia. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Uh, Probably I'm gonna speak very loudly, not shouting, but as loud as I can. Hey, friends, can I help you with something?
The younger Asian woman looks at you and her smile spreads from ear to ear. And you're sure that if not for the resting hand of the brunette, that she probably would have lunged at you. She probably would have sought to attack you, or otherwise somehow physically dominate. The brunette simply says, "We were invited, and if you could help, you would have."
Well, it's again speaking very loudly to see if I can get somebody just outside, just inside.
Yeah, Asian young lady. The brunette lets go of her. She takes a step closer. I'm Sun Che, and what's inside me will eat you.
uh, well, what's inside me would probably make you a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, so I don't know who has it worst.
You're a funny little man. I'm going to enjoy drinking. Have fun, Clyde. And she turns around and suddenly is bubbly and moving in pace with the other.
Kind of rude. I'm gonna pace behind them.
As she paces behind them, they move directly towards Hestia, almost as if they know exactly where she is. Erich, though, crouches down and removes a handkerchief from her pocket and extends it to you, Hestia.
She recognizes what this means and what them being here means, and realizes, you know, there is no turning back now. She's invited the Chantry into her space, but that's a problem for later. And very delicately, and with a soft nod, takes the handkerchief and quickly dabs her eyes. Looking between the two of them, she very succinctly, I want to say, sorry, and uh, clearly gives them a rundown of what happened.
And that is?
Um, Something was drawn here, and it howled like wolves. It hunted and found a way through into this world in that body, and I point to the one that started all of this. Um, we trapped it in Simone's body, as far as I know, but there were others floating around outside wanting to get in. I don't know how to get rid of them. That's why I called Juiceable. And I hate admitting that I don't know, but I needed help. That's why you're here.
The Asian is all but swooning. She's gently back and from one foot to the next, and she's looking at the corners of the room and staring at the ceiling and running her hands down her thighs. She starts smiling. It is the singular most eerie thing you have seen. It is like a child, a very macabre, homicidal child walking into a candy shop made of carved people. Eerie. And you can tell that it is an effort of will that she is not outright laughing or giggling right now. Aristo, however, is a picture of opposite. She frowns a little deeper and inhales. And she touches the pentagram hanging from her zipper, the zipper of her coat. Oh, this. I'm sorry, Hestia. This seems to be your legacy. On all sorts, on all fronts. I've been meaning to get back in contact with you.
What do you mean by that? My legacy.
Nearby, near at hand. It attracts them. And the lupines, savage though they are protectors of that line. They battle those spirits, those bane jaggling upon their death, depending on how strong the lupine was within their little area of our supernatural world, determines those who are attracted to its passing, those spirits. And clearly, you've had a lupine in presence. And Sanchez giggles. Not just any lupine. This was an alpha. This was a much vaunted warrior. Can't you feel the pain and suffering they inflicted on the world before they died? It's wonderful. Did you kill it? I would have liked to see that. Do you have any pieces left?
No, I burned the body. Yes, we killed it. But we didn't kill it here. So I don't understand why they're drawn here.
Hello?
Yes, there you go. I couldn't hear.
Hello? Can you hear me, guys? Hello, hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just got lagged out though. I'm back in, so maybe there's some connectivity issues.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Give me
Spy, can you
pills.
hear me?
Oh, okay. I lost connection for a second and I think you couldn't hear me.
I think it's a Discord thing because it seems like everybody's having a problem.
Yep. The gods of the Discord.
So the presence of weight due to the very teachings that have made you what you are. There is a weight of preternatural, supernatural.
So, storyteller, at least for me, you are going in and out of.
Yeah, you're cutting out. We're missing pieces.
Hey, is anything going on? Or are we just all like having connectivity issues right now?
All right. Nope. There it is. It's flagging, but it's here. All right. Anybody back?
Yep. Hello.
Yep. I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm carefully watching the signal at the bottom left of our dashboard. We are showing all 3 bars, so that should be a good thing once everybody else gets here.
Also, the bot
Here.
was getting in and out.
Alrighty. So when we stepped away for break, Sunche was looking to Clyde, making a point of pretty much calling him out for not being of relative use. Alex was feeling the presence of 2 very strong Tremere in the immediate area. And while he's not a Tremere himself and doesn't apply precious blood sorcery as they recognize it, there is some instinctual tremulation there. And Hestia, you are laboring under the fact that you have invited them when they came. And not just any Tremere, but 2 high-ranking Tremere came. One with ties to your sire. Based on the information that they just shared, or that Erichto just shared, what are you doing? What are you doing?
So I missed a bit of that, but if somebody calls me out, well, Clyde's a fairly laid-back guy, so doesn't really annoys him. Plus, it's just like one of many voices. Probably I'm watching Hestia carefully. So, out of character, I don't remember if we met with Alexander. I know he was in the disco thing, but
Yeah.
I was lost in the labyrinth, so never. I think we never had the chance.
Not officially.
Yeah. So is he around?
Yes, he was. He just disappeared into a back room with Simone.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go near his chances. So it's you need some help with something.
Okay. So before we take the break, there are bits and pieces cutting out. I got somewhat the gist of what you were trying to say that they were telling her, but I think there were important pieces missing. So if you just want to message me and fill me in as to what those might have been. I got something about it being her legacy, and then some of what was said about the lupine spirits being strong, and who the specific one that we had was. Other than that, I think I missed some things. So I'm trying to reply in a intelligent manner, but I can't quite just yet because I don't know what I missed.
Okay. Not a problem. So really briefly, and in synopsizing what was stated was the Lupais act as guardians of the physical and spiritual realm. They keep the two separate. They fight the effects of the spirit world on the physical and fight the physical effects on the spiritual. They keep the two worlds separate and they're able to go back and forth between. When they die, the spirits that they fight, they're those spiritual allies that have fought with.
That's unfortunate.
Where they have died, or their blood or their body's final resting place acts as a magnet that, combined with the very real, powerful, potent spiritual energy, has attracted those banelings, those jaglings, those fell spirits, and the strongest one or ones are what stands in opposition to everything here right now.
So basically, everything she did was a double-edged sword. By bringing the body here to study it, she attracted them, and then by burning the body here, she kind
You
of
broke up.
I said, so by burning the body here, after bringing it here, she just kind of compounded. Oh man. So basically, what she did, well, wish I had known that before I brought the body back here, but can't unbreak the eggs, I guess. So what do we do now?
Did I lose you?
No, I answered. I answered the question. Did you not hear it? No, make it up. Okay, can you hear me now? Hello?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me either?
There you go.
That's ridiculous. Okay. Basically what she says is, well, I can't unbreak the eggs. The question is, what do we do now?
Well, Sunche says, her voice very light and giddy. Well, that depends. How badly do you want to get rid of them? We can offer them a sacrifice. We can have them possess a body. Then we can kill the body, and then they'd be dead. Or we can try to drive them out. That's far more difficult and boring. I suggest we use his body, she says, pointing to Clyde.
Is that a date?
You charmer, I can't wait.
She's kind of like watching Sunche a little bit like, am I gonna have to step in here? But, she said, there's nobody we can sacrifice. It's already in Simone's body, but I'm not gonna kill Simone. We have to drive them away. I don't have any other real choice in this right now. I can't give it any of these people. Wait, sacrifice. Is there anything besides like a sacrifice? What can we sacrifice? An item or blood or something else?
No, can't hear you, storyteller. I can see you're trying to speak, but
Yeah, but Hestia and Alexander keep dropping out, and with us without having a steady signal is going to continue. If you all would like to press on, we definitely can, but it's significant tech issues tonight for some strange reason.
yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing. It's something about the Discord because everybody's coming in and out.
Yeah, so to resolve the scene and the evening in lieu of actual continued live play, would everybody go ahead and roll 2 rolls for me, intelligence plus occult and resolve plus composure, and then I'll get the results up in everyone's channel over the next couple of days, and we'll continue in with play by post until next week. Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry that it's not what I was hoping for, but it will have to do in lieu of our tech issues so that we can not further frustrate ourselves.
So intelligence occult, and can you type it for us? Because
He put it in open play, if I remember right. That's where I got it from, open play.
all
Put
right,
in what he wanted.
let's check. Resolve and composure. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you for the session. Shame that the Discord was acting up. Hope I catch you next week. Thank you.
Sing good night.
Bye bye.